pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. So that's this verse. This actually is one of my is my favorite verse in the whole Bible. Because well, is the second one is my favorite verse, but the continuation of it also just lets us know that whenever we get into any situation, we can always ask God for wisdom, and He'll give us all the wisdom in the world, right? All the wisdom that we need to go through any situation, to make sure that we are doing whatever we need to do, to be successful and wise in what we're doing. So just this verse sticks out to me, because it, like I said, just lets us know that God is there and will give us all the wisdom that we need. Anybody have any thoughts or comments on the verse for today? Cool. So I'm gonna hop right into the business topic of the day, and this is just gonna be some business some business podcasts for everybody to check out, right? We all trying to learn new and different things. These are some of the business podcasts that I've listened to, and they offer great, great advice, and they interview a lot of great people to who have done a lot of different things in business. So you got Earn Your Leisure, the Gary V audio experience. If y'all never heard of Gary V, definitely check out Gary V. Guy, he's real. He tells it like it is, very straightforward about really life and business. But he's one of those people who is like, if you're gonna do something, give it your all, right? Might as well. And he's really smart when it comes to social media. He was one of the first people to understand how to really use and monetize uh like Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook. So he was early on in the social media game, and he gives a lot of advice about uh, all the stuff now, like TikTok, Instagram, Threads. Like he's really on the social media stuff. And you got We Invested. It's a podcast that if y'all know Earp, Wesley Earp, that's his podcast. Definitely check it out. He interviewed a lot of great business owners who do everything from real estate to stocks to just owning different businesses. You should definitely check out that podcast. You got the Harvard Business Review Idea Cast. So Harvard Business Review, Harvard Business School is one of the top prestigious business schools in the nation. And they have a podcast where they interview different people out there who have graduated from their program or just guests that they bring in. So definitely check out that one. It's a lot of nuggets up there, for sure. Journey to Launch, that is with a young woman named Jamelia, and her podcast is she basically does saying interviews a lot of entrepreneurs, but it's from a woman's perspective, and it is also she asks a lot of good questions. She gives a different perspective from the standpoint of the angle that she asks some of the guests what she's asking, and she also talks a lot about how they really started. Right, that's why she calls it Journey to Launch, because everybody, a lot of people gloss over how they got from point A to point F, but she really dives in on those starting topics, because that's important, especially for young entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs just trying to start out. We want to know how people really did that. Wealthy Way podcast is a podcast. Is Christian based. But he also is more real estate based. But you have like I said, God interviewing people, but coming at it from a Christian angle, you got Black Wealth Renaissance. There's four guys who interview people. It's kind of the same as Earn Your Leisure. Sometimes they interview kind of the same people, but Earn Your Leisure is like huge now. If you haven't heard of Earn Your Leisure, definitely check out Earn Your Leisure, but also Black Wealth Renaissance. Millionaire Mindsets podcast. It just really goes over. Sometimes he does podcasts by himself, but he also interviews people and gets that perspective of really what it takes to think like a millionaire and how to get there. And then you got Masters of Scale, and it is what it is. It talks to his guests all about scaling. Um, so these are some business podcasts I've listened to that has helped me just in different aspects of my life and where I'm trying to go. Did anybody have any other podcasts that they like to listen to that they wanted to share with anybody else? Cool. And then for the self-development, I did the same thing. Just some personal development podcasts to listen to. So we got the Secrets to Success podcast. That's Dr. Eric Thomas podcast. Him, his guy CJ, and then another guy out there, Jamal, who's heavy in real estate, and then Carl, who was really their videographer. But they get up there and they just talk about, what it takes, the secrets to success, how to be successful, different topics. You got Behind the Brilliance. This is another black woman podcast. Interviews not she interviews creatives, not just entrepreneurs, and she also interviews thought leaders, like just very introspective, and she talks about personal development and success, and really how it gets to breaking down the person, like I said, behind the brilliance. Woman Evolved is a Black Christian podcast by Sarah Jakes Roberts, TD Jakes' daughter. Um, she she talks a lot about business, talks a lot about life, she talks about family, different things like that. It's really like I say about personal development. You got the Ultimate Health podcast. Podcast just exactly about what it says, and it's all about health and really getting your life healthy, different aspects of that, and how you can just be the healthiest person or version of yourself. Then you have the Minimalist podcast. Minimalist podcast also is what it names. Just discuss minimalism, intentional living, personal growth, and then also just different ideas on how to simplify life. And if you haven't ever heard of the term of minimalism, is basically how to live with as least material things as possible, right? So that's what minimalists do, and it also helps kind of steer like in that being in that mindset helps you to realize like a lot of the stuff is just unnecessary. A lot of stuff that we want to have is just unnecessary, and it's important for us to always seek experiences over things, right? So those are some personal development podcasts I wanted to share for our self development piece. Did anybody have any other personal development podcasts that they wanted to share? Cool. Well, that'll wrap it up for today. Thank you everybody for joining the Daily Dose. Hope everybody have a fantastic Monday. We got 2 more weeks left in March. Let's continue to crank it out. Be awesome. Be great. And remember that God can give us all the wisdom that we need. So I'll see y'all tomorrow, right back here at 7 a.m.